Spring 2026 is officially here, and the Central Florida real estate market is moving fast. Pending sales are up nearly 18% year over year. Inventory just crossed 8,800 active listings. Mortgage rates are still sitting in the fives, and homes in the right neighborhoods, they're going under contract in under 3 weeks. If you're a buyer sitting on the sidelines waiting for the perfect time, I need you to hear this. If you're a seller thinking about listing this spring, I need you to hear this even more. And if you're relocating to Central Florida from out of state, this is the update that's going to save you from making a six-figure mistake. I'm Pedro with eXp Realty, and I'm going to use all the data available to me to tell you what actually is happening in this market. Let's get into it. Really quick before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your time. I post twice a week home tours, market updates, and also what it's like to move in a certain community in Central Florida. Hit subscribe, tap the bell, and let's go. All right, so let's start where we always start, numbers. The median sales price in the Orlando Metro for April 2026 is tracking right around $400,000, and that's up roughly 3.5 to 4% year over year. But here is the bigger story. Inventory. We're now sitting at approximately 8,800 active residential listings across the Orlando Metro. That is up 28% compared to April of last year. So let me put that in perspective for you. All right, so last spring, buyers were fighting over maybe 6,800 listings, and now you've got 2,000 more options. That's a fundamentally different market. Months of supply has climbed to about 4.5 months, and remember, 6 months is a balanced market. In March, we're at 4.2, so we're trending in the right direction for buyers. Now, parts of Osceola County and South Orange County, we're already at or above 6 months. Those areas are firmly in buyer territory right now. Now, does more inventory mean prices are crashing? Absolutely not. And I need to be very clear about that because I see the clickbait on a different type of channel, right? So prices are still appreciating. They're just appreciating at a sustainable, healthy rate, okay? So the days of that 50% annual appreciation are over. And honestly, that's a good thing. What we have now is a market where you can buy a home, build equity over time, and not worry about a bubble popping. That's the market you want to be in. Now let's talk rates, okay? So mortgage rates in April are hovering in the 5.85 to 5.95% range. We saw 5.9% in the March Aura report, and we are essentially holding steady. The Fed has signaled they're watching inflation data closely, and the consensus among economists is that we'll see rates fluctuate in the high 5 or low 6 range through the summer. Here's what I want you to understand, and this is the economist talking right now. A 5.9% rate on a $400,000 home with 10% down means your principal and interest payment is roughly $2,135 a month. If you add taxes, insurance, and HOA, you're probably looking at $2,800 to $3,200 a month, depending on the neighborhood. Is that cheap? No. But compare that to renting a comparable home in Lake Nona or Winter Garden. You're paying $2,500 to $3,000 in rent anyway, and you're building zero equity. The math favors buying right now, period. And the market agrees with me. Pending sales are up approximately 18% year over year. That's a massive jump. In March, Aura reported over 4,000 pending sales, and April is tracking even higher. What does that tell you? Buyers who are educated on the data are making moves. They're not waiting for 4% rates that may never come back. They're locking in today's prices, planning on refinancing later and building wealth right now. New pending sales especially, meaning brand new contracts being written, are surging. we saw a 23% increase in new pending sales back in October 2025 compared to the prior year. And that momentum has carried straight through into spring 2026. The spring buying season isn't coming, it's here. Alright, so if you're finding this content really helpful, please do me a favor. It's not going to cost you anything. Click on the like button, feel free to subscribe, and send this video to a friend that is trying to make a smart real estate decision in Central Florida. I really appreciate your help, and let's keep going. One of the biggest stories in this spring is new construction. New builds are now account for roughly 27% of all closed sales in the metro, up from 25% just last month. Builders are competing hard for buyers right now, and that means incentives are still very much on the table. I'm talking rate buy downs, and I know some builders are buying rates down into the low fives, even the high fours in select inventory homes. And we're talking here $10,000 to $20,000 in closing costs credit. I'm talking free upgraded appliance packages, extended warranties, and in some cases, lot premium waivers. If you're thinking about new construction, spring 2026 is one of the best windows we've seen in years. And where's the action? Let me give you the neighborhood spotlight. Horizon West continues to be the new construction capital of Central Florida. Builders like Toll Brothers, Meritage, and Taylor Morrison are all active here. Price range is around $400,000 to $650,000 a home, and the community infrastructure, for example, schools, retails, parks, is catching up fast. So if you want a brand new home with modern floor plans and builder incentives, Horizon West should be on your list. Lake Nona is still commanding premium prices, right? So $450,000 to $650,000 for a single family. But the value proposition is, of course, very strong. The Medical City expansion, the new retail corridors, and the A-plus schools make this a long-term appreciation play. Homes here are still moving faster than the metro average. In Winter Garden, I just did a community tour here last Saturday, so go watch that if you haven't. Winter Garden is seeing strong spring demand in the $400,000 to $700,000 home range. Families are, of course, flocking here for the schools and the downtown lifestyle. Days on the market in Winter Garden is running about 22 days right now, and that's fast. And for the value play, Claremont and D-Land are still your best bets. You can get into a solid single-family home here in the $300,000 to $450,000 range. In both areas are seeing infrastructure improvements that are going to drive appreciation over the next 5 years. And one more thing before I forget, if you're relocating from a high-cost state like California, New York, New Jersey, your dollar goes dramatically further here. Think about that. A $400,000 home here in Central Florida would cost you $800,000 to over $1 million in those markets. Plus, you got no state income tax here, so that's not a small thing, right? Now, my favorite part. Let's talk about strategy, because data without a game plan is just numbers on a screen, correct? If you're a buyer this spring, here's your playbook. Number one, get pre-approved before you start touring homes. In a spring market with rising pending sales, you need to be ready to move when you find the right property. Number two, do not ignore new construction. The builder incentives right now are essentially giving you free money. Rate buy downs, closing cost credits that you won't see in the resale market is here. Number three, please negotiate. Have someone to negotiate on your behalf, even in the spring. With 8,800 homes active, sellers now, they know they have competition. Ask for closing cost assistance, ask for repair credits, ask for a home warranty. The worst they can say is no. And right now, most are saying yes. And number four, this is the biggest one for me. Work with an agent who actually understands the data, not someone who's just going to open doors for you, okay? So you need someone who can tell you whether your home is priced right, whether the neighborhood is appreciating or declining, and whether the deal on the table actually makes financial sense for your situation. That's what I do. That's the consultant approach. And if you're a seller, Spring is your window, but you have to be strategic. Remember, inventory now is up 28%. That means buyers have choices. If your home isn't priced accurately, staged well, and marketed aggressively, it's going to sit, okay? And every day it sits, it loses perceived value. Here's what I tell my sellers. We don't just list your home, we launch it. Professional photography, targeted digital marketing, strategic pricing based on real-time comps, and a marketing plan that is going to put your home in front of the right buyers. That's the difference between selling in 21 days and sitting for 80. If you're an investor, pay attention to the new construction incentives I mentioned before, all right? So a builder buying your rate down to the high fours on a rental property, that changes your cash flow projections dramatically. Central Florida's rental market remains strong, okay? So vacancy rates are still low. Rental demand from the steady stream of relocators keep upward pressure on rents. Run the numbers, the deals are there if you know where to look. All right, so here is my outlook for the remaining of Q2 in 2026. I expect home inventory to keep climbing throughout May and June, prices holding steady as spring demand picks up. Rates will likely be over the same, around 5 to 6%, and pending sales, we will keep seeing momentum there. And the bottom line here is that this is a very strategic market. People who are actually moving forward are the ones who are backing up their decisions on data, not emotion. So it doesn't matter if you are a first-time home buyer, a relocator, or if you're trying to upsize, downsize, or invest, you need a plan. And if you want a personalized breakdown of what's going on in a determined area, feel free to book a strategic call with me. I'm going to drop the link below. And on that call, I can help you make a better life decision when it comes to real estate here in Central Florida. This is Pedro. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.